Okay, so let's jump right in. We are going way back in time to talk about one of the most incredible, most successful hoaxes, maybe ever. It was called the Turk, and it was a chess-playing machine that had the entire world completely fooled for almost 100 years.
I want you to picture this. It's the 1700s, right? No electricity, no computers, nothing like that. And yet, there's this life-size mannequin dressed in, Turkish robes, sitting at a big wooden cabinet. And it can play chess. Not just play, it plays at a master level. It makes its own moves. It would actually say check. And get this, it supposedly had the nerve to laugh at its opponents when it was winning.
And we're not talking about some quick little carnival trick here. For 90 years. 90. This thing toured all over Europe and America, and it beat some of the smartest people of the time. Everybody had a theory, right? But nobody, and I mean nobody, could figure out how it actually worked. It was one of the greatest mysteries of the age.
So, where did this thing even come from? Well, the origin story is just as wild as the machine itself.
It all kicks off in Vienna back in 1769 at the court of the Austrian Empress. There's this French magician putting on a show with magnets, and the whole court is just eating it up. But this one guy, an inventor named Wolfgang von Kempelen, he's just kind of standing there, completely unimpressed. He basically says, "You think that's cool? I can build something way better." And just 6 months later, boom, he shows up with the Turk. And yeah, the Turk was an absolute smash hit. Right away, Kempelen knew he had a golden goose on his hands, and it didn't take long for him to take his amazing machine on tour. This is where the legend really begins to grow. So the first few years were just insane. After it debuted in '69, the buzz just kept building. By 1783, Kempelen kicks off this huge European tour. The machine is a total phenomenon. But then, in 1804, Kempelen dies, and it looks like the secret to his impossible machine died with him. A huge part of the magic was the showmanship. Before every single game, Kempelen had this whole ritual. He'd open up the left cabinet door, and you'd just see all these complicated-looking gears and clockwork. Then he'd grab a candle, open the back door, and shine it right through, so the audience could see light on the other side, to prove it was all machinery. He'd show the other compartments, which all looked empty. It was pure misdirection, and it worked perfectly. Everyone was convinced there was no way a person could be hiding in there. And look, the Turk wasn't just crushing your average Joe. No way. To really build its reputation, it had to take on the best of the best. And during its tour in France, it played against, wait for it, Benjamin Franklin. Yep, that Benjamin Franklin. He was a huge chess fan and a pretty good player too. And the Turk beat him, just like that. That's when its reputation as this unbeatable marvel was really cemented.
But Kempelen's death wasn't the end for the Turk. Not even close. The machine got a new owner. And honestly, the mystery just got bigger as it started a whole new, even more successful chapter.
So, the Turk ends up with this German guy, Johann Matzel. He figures out the secret and then takes the show on the road to America, where it absolutely blows up. It becomes more famous than ever. Matzel was a fantastic showman, and he even got the machine to play against Napoleon Bonaparte. And guess what? Napoleon lost too. This new level of fame just fueled a frenzy of speculation. I mean, people were desperate to know the secret. Was it really a machine? Was it magnets? The old theories came back. Maybe there was a small child hidden inside, or a chess-playing dwarf. The ideas were flying, but nobody had any proof.
And they came so close to getting caught in Baltimore. A newspaper actually printed a story saying 2 local boys saw Mausel open the cabinet and a man climb out, which was the truth. But they couldn't verify the kid's story, so a few days later, the paper took it back. Can you believe it? The illusion was safe, and the secret stayed hidden for another 30 years.
The near misses just kept coming. The one and only Edgar Allan Poe gets a look at the machine. He's fascinated. He even writes this super detailed essay about it. And he was right. He was totally convinced a man was inside. But he couldn't figure out how. He thought the guy was hiding in the mannequin's robes, not in the cabinet itself. So close, but he just missed the final piece of the puzzle.
And then, the story of the Turk comes to this really dramatic, fiery end. Maisel, the owner, dies at sea. The machine kind of bounces around a bit before it gets donated to a museum in Philadelphia. And there it sits, for more than a decade,
until a massive fire rips through the museum and destroys the Turk completely. It looked like the world's greatest secret had literally just gone up in smoke, lost forever.
But the story doesn't end there in the ashes. Just a year later, the son of the Turk's final owner decides to spill the beans. He publishes an article that reveals everything. After 90 long years, the secret was finally out. So let's get into it. This is exactly how they pulled it off.
So, this is the big one, right? The question that stumped the world for almost a century. How on earth did a machine play chess like a genius? Well, the answer is just, it's brilliant. It's so simple and yet so clever.
It wasn't a machine, not at all. The whole time, there was a human chess master crammed inside that cabinet, literally pulling all the strings. So how did they hide him during that whole inspection ritual? It was all down to a rolling seat and some sliding panels. It was like a shell game. When the presenter opened the left door to show you the machinery, the operator would just slide over on his chair into the Boog main cabinet. Then, when it was time to show that the main cabinet was empty, he'd just slide right back behind the fake ears. The audience thought they were seeing everything, but they were always looking in the wrong place at the wrong time. Okay, so how did the guy inside even know what was happening on the board? And how did he move the pieces? This is where it gets really clever. There were two key parts. First, magnets. Every chess piece had a little magnet on the bottom. Underneath the board, there was a metal bead on a string for each square. When someone lifted a piece, the bead would drop, telling the hidden operator exactly which piece moved and where it went. And to move the Turk's arm, he used something called a pantograph. It's this cool lever system that basically copied his own arm movements on a smaller scale, letting him guide the mannequin's arm with total precision. When you think about it, the Turk was just this masterpiece of engineering, but also showmanship. It's such a great reminder that what you see isn't always what you get. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? In our own high-tech world, with AI and all this complex technology, what modern marvels out there might just have a really clever person hiding inside, pulling the levers? Definitely something to think about.